What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so that you can get notified immediately as soon as we drop any new blogs on this channel. So let's get into it. One of my sort of fighters that I like to watch, Conor Benn, was also in action on the Josh Warrington, Mauricio Lara undercard. He was one of the fights leading up to the main event. And his fight against Adrian Granados, it was one of these fights where I can see that, obviously Conor Benn, I would say he sort of technically did quite well overall, because I would say on the cards, the way I looked at it, he definitely won the rounds. He won most of the rounds. I wouldn't say it was a great performance by him, though. I think there was a fair few sort of technical flaws in there. I think for me personally, he was sort of loading up with every shot. He was looking to land, powerful shots all the time. I don't think he was really setting his shots up correctly. Even from the early going. There were many times where he would sort of just neglect a jab and not set something up, and then just try to wing in like power shots, right hooks and left hooks, and he would just try to go around the guard with all these big shots rather than actually setting them up. So for me, I think technically, although yes, he did win most of the rounds, because Granados was mainly sort of I guess he felt the power of Conor Benn. And he was just sort of circling around the ring for a lot of the fight, just sort of surviving for the most part. But I still think on Conor Benn's part, he could have done a few more things to sort of set his shots up better. He could have used a jab, a bit more effectively. I mean, I understand that the way Granados fought, meant it was very hard to sort of cut off the ring. But at the same time, I just think as much as he did well in terms of he won the rounds, I think he was still a lot of things lacking technically. He was making, I think he was kind of, for me, a lot of this fight, he was kind of telegraphing a lot of his work. So basically Granados, although yes, he wasn't sort of winning the fight for me and for the judges, he was able to see a lot of Conor Benn's attacks coming, because he was going there and kind of tensing up and loading, and you could see him, I'm sure Granados could sort of see a lot of his work coming from a mile off, and I'd say that overall the main thing, he got the main thing, which is the win. But I think he definitely needs to sort of tighten up technically and sort of tighten up defensively, I would say, because I think he got caught a bit too many times. But yeah, I think it just needed, it was one of them performances where you can say he did well because he won, but at the same time there was a lot of flaws in his performance. There was a lot of things where, as difficult as it is, he could have like stepped across Granados sometimes and tried to sort of cut the ring off, or try and make, force him one way or the other. He could have, I think the jab was kind of missing from his work, because if he used the jab a bit more, he could have then set up those bigger shots, and it would have been more difficult for Granados to sort of see what he's doing. Whereas what Conor Benn was actually doing was kind of, to forget the jab, and then I'm just going to hit you with that or that. And it was all these bent arm sort of wide shots that he was coming with, and they just weren't set up properly. So, for me, that was the flaws I found with it. But at the same time, I suppose it's styles make fights, and a guy like Conor Benn, who likes to have a war, who likes to sort of be in close quarters, fighting at close range and let his hands go, he might need a guy that sort of just stands in front of him and has it with him, rather than a guy that moves. And I suppose when someone is running and sort of moving around the ring, and they're being negative, they're not trying to engage, it is difficult. And I do accept that it's a difficult task. But for me, I think with him, uh, I reckon with when it comes to the world level guys, like a sort of Sean Porter, Jerron Boots Ennis, and guys like that, I think I would say he needs a few more fights before going in with the top guys. I think he needs to. They need to maybe pump the brakes with him a little bit, slow it down a little bit, and I think he does need a few more sort of learning fights before they start talking about guys like sort of not Terence Crawford. What's the other guy? They were talking about Sean Porter for him, and I honestly I think that would be a mistake. Even guys like Keith Thurman, I think he's been off injured and whatnot. I think even he would be very dangerous. They'd have to exercise caution with him. I mean, he of all the top options, someone like him might be the sort of best option, but it would be one where you wouldn't put your money 100% on Conor Benn in that fight because Keith Thurman can still punch. He's still slick. He's still quite sharp. So yeah, we'll see what happens next. But I'd say with Conor Benn, just exercise caution, be careful, be very shrewd in the matchmaking process with his next fight. I think he still needs a bit more learning fights before he sort of gets in there with the big boys. But he's definitely a guy that has got a great engine. He can fight for 12 rounds, no problem. And he's got he's got a bit of pop in his punches. So he's definitely a hope for the future. But I'd say probably not quite ready for the top guys at 147. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. And until next time, this is MKO Pugilism over and out. Catch you on the next one.